Welcome to the Casual Cinecast, powered by Cinelinx. My name is Chris, and with me as always is Mike. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty great. Thanks for asking, Chris. And
Anytime.
yeah, well, thank you. Okay. And by the way, with us today is our dear friend Peyton Paulette, who is stepping in for Justin during the month of June while Justin's off doing whatever Justin's doing.
He's on a sabbatical.
He's on a sabbatical.
He's
Perfect
on his
way to put it. Love it.
What is it? Eat, love, and pray. Walkabout.
Yeah, not in that order though. Just in whatever order he feels like. Anyways, so why don't you say hello, Peyton?
Well, hello everyone. I'm glad to be here, and hopefully I'm filling the gap pretty well that Justin left. So yeah, but I've been enjoying this month so far.
It has been a blast having you here, so thank you so much.
Yeah.
Normally, we like to start off every episode in a section called News on the March, and then go into our feature review. This week, we are reviewing Toy Story 4. And since we are reviewing Toy Story 4, we have a special question, and that is, what was your favorite childhood toy? Everyone had one, according to Toy Story. So, Chris, on the spot, what was your favorite toy growing up?
Yeah,
Did you
I'd
have
have
one?
to. Yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite toy as a young kid was Legos. I had the space Lego set, like it was this giant space station thing. I built it to, like the specs, like what the instructions said. And then I remember at some point I just built something out of it and made up my own stories with it as one does. And yeah, the Lego toy set was my favorite thing. And also I had G.I. Joes. I like G.I. Joes too. But
Okay, with the Legos, did you play with the little dudes, or did you just build random structures?
So I had this random structure built, and then I had like a windshield that went on one of the space ships, right?
Yeah.
And it was just on the ground, and when the little Lego guys went through, they traveled through time. Like, so they'd come to my time and talk to me and hang out, but then they'd go back into their time.
Nice.
So that was my
Nice.
playing. Yeah, everything had to do with time travel when I played as a kid, so.
All right.
Yeah, well, you had a type of story. Anyway, what about you, Peyton?
Similar to Chris, I was also really into Legos, and that's what I played with mostly. Anything that I could like build stuff with. So I had Legos and like an erector set, and specifically with Legos, I remember one that I played with constantly was for Christmas. I got the Star Wars Phantom Menace pod race set.
Oh, cool.
So all the pod racers that you saw in the big pod race, it came in this like huge box, and there were a million pieces, and I would put them all together, and then same thing. I would like take them apart and conglomerate other pod ships into other things, and yeah. So that was probably my number one toy.
That makes sense. That's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah. I like Legos all right, just fine, but I didn't ever have like any great affection for those more than anything. I liked action figures quite a bit when I was a kid. And being born in the late 80s, as I was in the prime time for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
And so I had like pretty much every action figure made. But I think the one that was always with me the most, and I have no idea why, and this is when I was really little, was the Donatello in the coat, in the hat, like in disguise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like he had like, the overcoat, like to hide his shell and everything like that, and that way he could walk around amongst people, even though he had like no shoes and no gloves. But
That disguise is fooling no one.
Yeah, that was like my like really little kid phase, and then as I got older, it became whatever the 90s version of the Luke Skywalker action figure was, where he had the Rebel pilot suit on, like the orange pilot suit on, and it came with the blue lightsaber and the blaster.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars pretty much took over once, like, the re-releases and, like, the remasters hit in the 90s, like the special editions. That pretty much ended all Ninja Turtles and kind of just, like, went Star Wars from there on out. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, those were my two favorites. So that would have been my Woody and Forky.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
All right, cool. So, now, without further ado, let's move on with the show. Real quick, if you wanted to ever like, follow, and subscribe to us, you could follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at casualcinecast. You can email us at casualcinemedia@gmail.com. And as always, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review if you could find the time. That would be nice. Preferably not a 1-star review. Even if you hate us. 5-star review. Tell us why you hate us.
Tell us why. Yeah.
But as long as it's 5 stars, we'll consider it constructive feedback.
Exactly. And when we're not reviewing new releases, we go through the Criterion Collection once a month. Cool thing is it's voted on by you, the listeners. So go check out last month's review on Stalker and look forward to our new episode on Weekend by John Luc Godard.
Yeah. So look forward to that next month when Justin returns. If you have any thoughts on Weekend or how we should have done Pierre Lafoe, then send that to our email at casualcinemedia@gmail.com, and we will read it on the show if it's cool and interesting. All right, guys. I can't think of anything else. I think it's time we move on to News on the March.
Let's do it.
Yes.
News on the March!
All right, so this week, guys, I have not really had a chance to watch a whole bunch. I've been mostly reading because,
Nerd.
sometimes it's good to read. Exercise the brain a little bit, But other than that, I've been powering through Deadwood. But I did watch one new thing this week, and it's the only thing really worth talking about, and it's an Amazon Prime show called Good Omens.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
I have.
Okay, so for anyone listening who hasn't, this is, of course, the hit show starring David Tennant and Michael Sheen. They play a demon and an angel who are trying to thwart plans for the apocalypse by working together.
Yeah, and it's based on the book by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman. Yeah, this show strikes me as the tone that American Gods was striving for but could not achieve.
Oh, okay.
American Gods goes too far, I think.
Yeah, but anyway, that we'll see about that. I haven't actually seen season 2. Has season 2 of American Gods been released yet?
Yes. I couldn't get through the first season, but...
It's only 8 episodes. You must have
I
really
still
not liked
couldn't.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I tried getting through it, but, yeah. I like the book better. Yeah.
I hear that. So, Good Omens, though, is not really anything like American Gods if you are kind of standoffish for that reason. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, have either of you guys watched this show yet?
Yeah, I've seen the first 3 episodes, and it's really good. I like it.
So you're like a Good Omens expert.
Yes, I've read the book as well. So
yeah, so I've only seen the first episode. So
I've read the book, but I haven't watched the show yet. But I can, just based on all the trailers and the bumpers and the stuff I've seen, I can say that I think you're right. It hit the exact tone that, like, the Terry Pratchett tone, like, perfectly, and I think the actors are, like, really, really good. At least from what I've seen in this in the ads and stuff. So
yeah, David Tennant rules.
Yeah.
So does Michael Sheen, but David Tennant's my boy from Doctor Who. Yeah. So the show also stars John Hamm, which is cool.
Oh, cool.
And anyways, the reason I bring this up is because there was some news this week that almost reads like an Onion article, which is that a bunch of Christians got upset and tried to petition this show to be canceled. Did you guys hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess them in their infinite wisdom decided to petition Netflix, who then promptly promised not to make any more of the show Good Omens through Amazon. So I thought that was a little humorous, but what do you guys think of all that?
Well, I thought it was a fake. I was like, this is, fake news. I really did. I thought it was an Onion article thing or some facsimile thereof, but no, I didn't think it was real, and I started digging through it. I was like, oh my god, yeah, it's really it's that real. It's like it reminds me of, like, I remember I was driving through like Lufkin or something, and so they had this like an ad for a men's retreat at some local church, and on the ad was a picture of. You have to edit this out because I don't remember the philosopher's name, but what was his name? The guy who said God is dead. Nietzsche. Yeah, it was like, so there's this ad for this men's retreat at this little church, and it said, something like, real men have awesome mustaches, and there was a picture of Nietzsche, and I was like, I don't think I don't think that means what you think it means. It's like,
right,
it was that level of stupidity. So, I was really, I was quite shocked. I thought it was great. It's one of those things, like, it's one of those things that I think TV shows like that strive for. Right.
Like, yeah, it's like the best favor you could have done it.
Yeah. It was like that James Franco movie, The Interview. Like, that was the best thing that ever happened to that movie, was that North Korea was going to hack everybody. It was great. So,
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I thought the world grew out of the satanic panic stuff, like the outrage of, like, this is too immoral, let's boycott it. Everything else except for religious stuff now seems to get boycotted, but, like, I thought we were done with this like churches having any kind of like muster with like popular opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially something that's so clearly satirical. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this seems like something that like it used to be like a common occurrence like in the 80s and the 90s where you would like hear about like a bunch of Christians who would like not understand something and then try to boycott it, you know?
Harry Potter for one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I felt like that ended with like the West Memphis 3 or something, you know?
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. First, I just want to point out, you should do your research if you're going to start a petition. Don't petition the wrong people. And then Netflix was so great in saying what they did. The second thing I have to say is there any instance where one of these petitions actually, like online petitions, actually changed anything? Because I always hear about these petitions, but I don't know of any instances where it changed anything.
You know, I don't know. I mean, enough bitching can, I guess, get the Sonic animators to make a better Sonic, but
that was the one thing that I thought of recently that happened. It wasn't a petition, but yeah, it was just such backlash. Yeah.
Right. Well, like, you know, I remember back in 2012, a video game came out called Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
That had a really controversial ending. And that's the first time I remember these petitions starting where like fans wanted to remake Mass Effect 3, you know? And that didn't work. And I haven't seen any of them work since then. So who knows, you know? But I think people will always try. Like, The Last Jedi is going to get remade any day now, you know? Like, Disney's going to come to their senses and realize, oh, wait, oops.
And we're going to get the Snyder cut here pretty soon, too.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know, whatever. It gives people something to do, but, you know, it seems like fandoms these days are just like, they make like an ongoing narrative out of negativity.
Yeah.
And wallowing in negativity. Anyways, whatever. But anyway, Chris, you said you've seen 3 episodes of Good Omens. Would you recommend it? Should I keep going? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Keep going. I liked it quite a bit. Like, I'm not sure why I kind of stopped because it's been about a week since I've watched the first 3 episodes. But I picked something else up probably. I do want to go back and finish it. I think it's really funny. John Hamm is really good as the Archangel Gabriel, right? John
Hamm does not get enough credit for his comedic chops.
No,
he's great.
Yeah. He was like one of the best things in Bridesmaids for like the 2 seconds he was on screen.
That's true. He was. That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully John Hamm, we get to see more of his comedic acting for sure outside of Good Omens. But yeah, he's pitch perfect, I think, the right casting for him because he takes his comedic style he's so serious. He takes it just as seriously as like him being on Mad Men, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it funny, I think. Anyways, yeah, it's great. It's got that tone. I think Neil Gaiman is good on his own, but you add Terry Pratchett and you get this humor, and then you also have like the goth sensibilities or world making of Neil Gaiman that's really great, and together they're just a really great combination.
Yeah, it's a very unique feeling show, and you know, I wasn't like laugh out loud funny during it, but I'm definitely going to keep watching. Probably as soon as we get done here, I'm going to go fire up another Good Omens and then Deadwood. So
nice.
That's what my night's looking like. So let's get this show on the road. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, moving on. So
Thanks
guys,
for listening, everybody.
Yeah, we're done. Bye. So guys, there is a new Halloween in development. It will be called Halloween 2. And we are talking about the sequel to the Halloween 2 from 2018, which is actually only called Halloween. And they ignored all the other Halloween sequels, like the actual Halloween 2, both versions of it. I know, it's complicated. But basically, this will be called Halloween 2. But technically, in this timeline of Halloween movies, it should be Halloween 3.
Right.
But whatever. It's called Halloween 2, and it's being written by David Gordon Green, who is returning.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But I believe no Danny McBride this time.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think so, anyway. It's not in the thing I'm reading here. So, what are your thoughts? Let's start with Peyton. First of all, what is your relationship with Halloween? Did you see the one last year?
I did, yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts, and would you like to see a sequel to this new sequel to Halloween?
You know, no, not really. I thought I liked the Halloween a lot. I thought it was a shift in the right direction. They got the tone right. I mean, it was funny in some bits, and it was serious. It was serious where it needed to be. It was shot really well. It looked amazing.
One thing I want to say about the 2018, we have a whole episode on it where Justin, Chris, and I reviewed it. So if you guys are interested, go back and listen to it. I believe we all liked it. But one thing I liked in particular about it is something I didn't like while watching it, but looking back on it is like they don't explain everything to you. Like something that seems like a bad twist about two-thirds of the way through it. Actually, if you think back on it, has like a lot of foreshadowing and like makes the story better, kind of in certain ways. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But continue.
Well, the other thing, I mean, the ending was very open-ended, like they all are. So I was like, well, there's possibility there, but so I was expecting it. This was not a surprise that they announced it. The thing that was a surprise was that David Gordon Green was going to come back.
Yeah, he seems like a guy that likes to dabble in genres and then move on.
Exactly. So that was a surprise that he's coming back. But I guess Jason
made a
lot.
It only cost them like $9 million or $11 million or something like that to make Halloween, and it ended up making like it was
$260 domestically, something like
almost
that.
Almost 300 million worldwide, I believe.
Yeah.
It's insane. No, why would they not make a sequel? Here's my thoughts. I'm worried because I believe Jamie Lee Curtis and Judy Greer and whoever played the granddaughter is coming back as well.
Right.
I feel like this last Halloween sequel fixed a lot of the problems of the other Halloween sequels in that they got rid of like, oh, Laurie Strode is actually Michael Myers' like estranged sister, and that's why he's after her, because like that takes away a lot of the scariness from Michael Myers, because like I'm not his sister, I'm not his brother. Why should I be scared of him? Right. So the sequel kind of fixed that and was like, hey, he's just like indiscriminately a monster, which is a better version of Michael Myers, I think. But if that's the case, why would these people possibly come back into the equation unless he starts stalking them specifically again, which again means he has motivation and a plan, which completely undoes everything they tried to make him do or tried to make him in the last movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think the Jamie Lee Curtis storyline felt finished.
Agreed.
It was cathartic. She had finally kind of won out and dealt with her demons from before.
Spoilers,
and well, yeah. Anyways, and so I felt like it finished. I probably felt this way about the remaking Halloween to begin with, or the sequel to it. David Gordon Green and stuff like that. So I feel like they've earned enough trust from me that I'm not going to write it off completely, right? I am a little worried, but hopefully they can nail it. I was worried about Toy Story 4 too, and we'll see what happens there too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting comparison. So there are two examples of like waiting for like a long time for a sequel you didn't want and were worried about, and then it ends up surprising you or ends up letting you down, right? And I can think of two examples. I won't include what I think of Toy Story 4 just yet, just to keep everyone in suspense a little longer. But I would say an example of a sequel that was unnecessary but came around and was awesome and even helped make some of the first one even better would be like Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm.
That is an example of a sequel that didn't need to be made, but that they rocked it and they took it and ran with it and did something great. Or you could do the Incredibles 2 thing, which is wait a long time and then deliver something standard, Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I agree with Chris. It feels like the Laurie Strode story should be done. And how many times can you just like almost kill Michael Myers and him keep coming back before he becomes just like he was in the original set of sequels? So they really need to focus on the character of Laurie Strode and her continuing, maybe her continuing relationship with her family now that her family maybe understands her in a level they didn't in the previous one. I think if they keep it about character and her character, it could be good, but my gut reaction is skepticism,
Agreed.
Right.
Okay. So that's all I've got. Who else wants to talk about something in News on the March? I believe, Chris, you have some things to discuss.
Yeah, I was actually on another podcast recently, a War Starts at Midnight podcast, where we talked about Spine number 40 of the Criterion Collection, a very controversial Spine number. It's Armageddon. I had a great time talking. I had a great time talking to them on the podcast. It was a lot of fun to do. So when you guys get a chance after you're done listening to this podcast, go check out War Starts at Midnight. They're really great, and they're about to start. Yeah, they're gonna do the Magnificent Andersons, where they do Paul Thomas Anderson and Wes Anderson, and they're just gonna go through their filmographies. So I'm really looking forward to that myself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see there's some trailer for a one-reel P.T. Anderson movie about the singer of Radiohead?
Oh, yeah, I just saw that pop up,
Oh, and it's going to play in an IMAX, but not any IMAX near me, because I looked to see.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, but I am excited to see that on Netflix when it comes out.
Yeah, should be interesting. I'm not the hugest Radiohead fan, but also, I'm a huge PTA fan, and I don't dislike Radiohead, so I'm there.
They do a lot of his. They do
Johnny
a lot
Greenwood
of his
does.
soundtrack. Oh,
Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood.
Yeah, Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead is a frequent collaborator since There Will Be Blood.
Cool. And then just the one other thing, I was kind of under the weather last week, and so I got some TV watching done as I convalesced. I watched Dark, the German TV show that's on Netflix, that is really, really interesting, and I like it quite a bit. The second season just came out last Friday, and I wrapped that up, so I'm all the way through. It reminds me, it's like Lost meets Stranger Things meets Broadchurch. It's really great. The thing that I find fascinating that the show does so well, and I'm going to tell you, this isn't a spoiler because it's like in the synopsis and everybody talks about it, but it's a time travel show, and which is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
We know. Childhood Chris loved it in his Lego games.
Absolutely. So one of the things that this show does so well is there's so many plates in the air, and they're just spinning all these plates, and it's just fascinating to watch. And they keep adding new plates to it, and it's just like, how well can they tell this story that's super complicated?
Where do they keep getting the plates?
Yeah, where are these plates coming from? I don't know.
Are they buying them?
But the show is super complicated. I've heard people talk about how you need to be taking notes while you're watching it.
Like Westworld?
No, it's more complicated than Westworld.
More complicated than Westworld?
Yeah,
well,
Westworld's
only complicated in the sense that like the timelines are confusing when watching it. Like the show itself's not that complicated. But like, what are you talking about? Is it timelines or is it like what?
All right. So what I'm gonna say is spoilers for Dark. It's not too bad. So if you want to continue listening, that's fine. But there are 3 different timelines in this show, and they all are happening concurrently. And it's about the small town. And so there are 3 sets of actors playing the same characters.
So they're not in the same timeline. They're actually like 3 parallel timelines.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you also get characters that start moving between these timelines. And you have future versions and past versions and future versions of all these characters. And it gets complicated, and then there's also families and how each one relates to each other and who's sleeping with who's angry at the other person and for what reasons, and in that way, so it's like a regular drama with time travel, and then it's super complicated. One of the things I also really like about it is how it'll present to you a character and you'll hate him. That character will be doing bad things, and then maybe we go back to a past timeline and we realize why he's doing that bad thing, and all of a sudden he becomes very human. He's not just good or evil, he's just very human, and I love that about this show. I think it's really good.
How many episodes is this?
So the first season is 10, and then the second season, which kind of upset me because I didn't realize that there's only 8, and I got to the 8th episode and I was like, all right, I want to see what happens next. And there's only 8 episodes, so I was very sad when that happened.
Is it one and done?
No, there's actually, what they're going to do is what they call cycles. They are going to do one more season, and then that'll be it. And each season's like a cycle. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the third one. It's very interesting, very dense, but well worth your time. It's also subtitled, so that also adds an extra layer of...
Yeah, so it's probably not even that complicated for German people.
Yeah, German people are fine with it.
No.
Oh, it also mentions Chernobyl, which is a thing since we watched since I watched Chernobyl and Stalker. I feel like it just keeps popping back up.
Yeah, you see it everywhere once you know to look for it. Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
Yep, that's all I've got.
Yeah, I think that does it for news on the march this week. Unless Peyton, you have anything?
Nothing I can think of. No.
All right. Well, then let's move on to our review of Toy Story 4. What do you say?
Love it.
Woody? Why am I alive? You are a toy. You belong to Bonnie. These are your friends.
Woody, I have a question. Well, actually, not just one. I have all the questions.
Who wants to go on a road trip?
Me!
Vacation!
You need help with that?
No, I got it. I know, this is a little strange, but we all have to make sure nothing happens to Forky.
Something happened to him.
Buzz, we gotta get Forky.
Roger that.
The panic is attacking me! Change of plans. Jesse, Ham, Buzz, Bo, Rex, Potato Head.
Hey, watch it, buddy.
Let's go save a spork.
All right, so as always, we like to start off all of our main reviews in a spoiler-free section, and then we will move on into spoilers. But before we do, we will make sure that you get a spoiler bumper, so you cannot possibly find yourself being spoiled when you did not intend to be. Otherwise, keep on listening through, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so Toy Story 4 was directed by Josh Cooley, starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Tony Hale, Annie Potts, and more. The IMDb synopsis says, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and the rest of the gang embark on a road trip with Bonnie and a new toy named Forky. The adventurous journey turns into an unexpected reunion as Woody's slight detour leads him to his long-lost friend, Bo Peep. As Woody and Bo discuss the old days, they soon start to realize that their worlds apart when it comes to what they want from life as a toy. Good Lord, that summary was too long.
It was, but very
yeah, I mean, it's
so,
to a T, the movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. So, who wants to kick us off on their expectations in relationship to the Toy Story franchise, and then obviously what they thought of Toy Story 4? Peyton.
Well, I guess I can. Yeah, I'll kick it off. So I saw the original Toy Story in theaters, and I've seen every Toy Story film in the theater ever since, and this is no exception. I went to see this one. My expectations, I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I had seen the trailers and all that stuff, but I didn't know where they were going to go with it exactly. I didn't know how this was going to fit in because after Toy Story 3, I felt like that was such a great sunset to the trilogy there. They had made a nice little arc there. So my thoughts going into it was this might be like a solo. This is going to be like a side story, a little heist film or something, which it actually kind of was a little heisty. But, I didn't know what the adventure was going to be exactly, or was it going to be able to tie in with the other ones or what. But I went in with kind of low expectations. It was a tight little movie. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long or something. So it's really very short. And, every scene moves along. I found it absolutely delightful. I loved it, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I saw it in an almost full theater.
Nice.
And I saw it. I saw it Sunday. I saw it Sunday night because the theater here in Knack was sold out Saturday. So Forky was a crowd favorite. They loved that thing. Which was great. But yeah, no, I thought it was great, and it left it a little open for if they want to make another one. But I think if you like Toy Story, you won't be disappointed. So I had a couple of little problems here and there with a couple of characters, which we'll get into in spoilers. But otherwise, I mean, it was just minor compared to everything else. I will say this, and I think we had talked about before we got, we're going to go see this movie. We talked about sitting down and rewatching the Toy Story films, and I didn't watch Toy Story 2, but I went back and watched Toy Story 1 because I had it on DVD, and then I watched Toy Story 3, and good Lord, is Toy Story quaint in comparison to how good this movie looks. Yeah, it looks so cheap almost, and and in rewatching it, I started thinking about things like obviously the Pixar animators were kind of everything we make, everything looks like plastic. Oh, let's just make a movie about toys and it'll just feel natural. Is the only thing I could come up with. But I mean, you look at this Toy Story 4, I mean, there's depth of field and there's everything. If characters like ceramic, like Bo Peep is made of ceramic and you can see the sheen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have more to talk about with the upgrades to how everyone looks, but I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I wasn't completely sure until this movie that she was ceramic.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I had no idea. I thought she was just a doll. Yeah. Same. No, I had no idea that she was like glass or anything. I thought it was just like a rubber doll, like all the other ones. Or made of
I
wood
thought
or
she was like
something.
maybe like glass or something, but like this was I was kind of. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. Were you done?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm done.
So let me jump off of what you were saying by saying the exact same thing and replicating you. I watched all of these in theaters. I loved them. I saw them when I was a little kid and then all the way up through college. So that said, I was not really looking forward to Toy Story 4. Like, I wasn't dreading it. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it sort of snuck up on me.
I was the same way. Yeah, same here.
So, that might have something to do with the fact that, like, I'm not really crazy about a lot of the sequels that Pixar has been putting out lately, like Finding Dory or Incredibles 2. They're okay. But overall, I don't really think that they are worth being held up against their first entries into the franchises. And to top it off, like you, I thought Toy Story 3 gave a lot of closure and everything I wanted from the franchise, So with Toy Story 4, I was interested and not excited. And then I came away enjoying it. I did. I can safely say that I think it is a good time and one of the better sequel movies that Pixar has made in the past few years. It beats the heck out of Finding Dory, Monsters University, or Incredibles 2, and so on. But that said, it does feel a little unnecessary. Like I think with Toy Story 3, I remember very vividly being sad, being happy. I remember tearing up while watching it.
Yeah, same.
And I didn't really get emotional at all while watching Toy Story 4. Like, I giggled and laughed a few times, but it's not nearly as rich emotionally as what I always thought of all these years as the ending to the franchise.
Right.
So I don't know if that's really a problem with Toy Story 4 or not. I can easily see them kicking off another trilogy off this movie. The animation is obviously great, although I did find myself a little distracted here and there by how much better Bo Peep looked.
My God,
Like, just versus how I'm used to her looking in my brain, which is not really a problem, I guess. That's just more of like, with the times and technology improving, that just happens, So that's kind of where I come down. I liked it. I don't think I'm quite as high on it as you, but I think it's easily up there with like Toy Story, probably the first one. I think the third one is probably like my gold standard for the franchise just because it is the most emotional.
Right.
But it's fine. It feels a lot like Toy Story 2, which is, it's a good time.
Yep. Exactly. I think I am mostly comparing it to the other things I've seen so far this summer, and this is the standout so far of the summer this year.
Yeah, this and Avengers, really, I'm sad to say, are like my favorite things. But Chris, what did you think of Toy Story 4, and what is your relationship to the Toy Story franchise in general?
Yeah, I remember going to see the first one with my dad and my sister and loving it, so like just like you guys, I've seen everything in the theater. I love the franchise. I think the first three were great and worked so well as a trilogy. So just like you guys, I was worried, but hopeful that Toy Story 4 would be good and a valid entry into this already great trilogy, right? Or franchise now. I was not let down. I like this movie a lot. I think I'm closer to where Peyton is. I watched it like Saturday night, so it's been a few days now. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And what Pixar does when it's at the top of its game is it makes a movie that is a lot of fun, that you laugh, you cheer, but then there's also like a deeper meaning to it. And I'm not going to spoil it here, but there is a second layer to this, and that also speaks to me and makes my appreciation for this movie a lot greater. So that's how I feel about Toy Story 4. I love it. I'm glad that it came out, and it's one of those things. It's just like Halloween. You just all you can do is hope that it's really great, and this I feel is really great.
Yeah, agreed. I think especially what works about this movie, jumping off of what you said, is it's a lot about as much about being a parent as it is about surface value stuff, about the empty nest syndrome, and getting your life together after your quote purpose leaves you,
Yep.
So guys, what did you think of Forky? I thought he was pretty funny. And in my opinion, I think he was like the best part of the movie. It reminded me of Buster, and that's probably because Tony Hill will never not remind me of Buster Bluth in anything that he's in.
Yes. No, I kept, his face kept popping up in like a hook hand and all that stuff. So I love that character.
Yeah. He just wanted to die and be in trash. really funny.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a spoiler to talk about his origin and how he came into existence, but I guess we'll say
it's pretty obvious looking at him, how he came into existence.
But that whole thing was just so great because it's like this Frankenstein creation coming to life. So it was like very young Frankenstein. It's just like
yeah, like how Woody was like kind of like responsible for it in a way, like
yeah.
It like has like this like obligation to like look after it. It's pretty funny. I think I enjoyed whenever they were walking down the road and Woody was explaining to Forky like when Buzz first came into the room and didn't realize he was a toy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, how is that not annoying? And he's like, I know.
Right.
Yeah, Forky is really great. I think there's 3 additions to the like team that I can think of that I enjoyed all of them. Keanu Reeves is one of them.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves fit right in with this movie.
Yeah, Duke Kaboom was really great. And then I like Key and Peele. What did you guys think about their characters?
I like them in general.
Yeah.
They were fine in the movie. I think they were a little high energy for me in some places where I was like, oh, this is getting a little like heavy editing just to get their jokes to fit in, It didn't feel like Toy Story.
Yeah.
It felt a little different, which isn't bad, I guess.
No, they were the standout. Like, this feels shoehorned, kind of. Yeah, to me anyway.
They did get the biggest laugh in my theater.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too.
See, I watched this, like, you guys talked about having like really crowded theaters. I actually saw this on Saturday night, but there was only like 10 to 15 people in my showing.
Mm-hmm.
So like there weren't really any laughs that I could hear. So like it was all kind of up to my own internal meter,
Right.
Yeah.
I will say that one of my major complaints about this movie that I feel pretty comfortable in saying is a complaint is that Buzz gets a little too sidetracked. And it's a little too much about Woody, in my opinion.
I'm really happy you brought that up because that was one of my complaints as well. And it's not just that his it's sidetracky and it kind of feels like, well, we have to give him something to do because he's been such an integral part of the story and everything. But his character started doing this in Toy Story 3 and they just continued it here. It feels like his character regressed because, he started out not, thinking he was the space captain, and then, he comes to the realization of what he is at the end of Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2. We have that great moment where he, runs into himself and he's like, my God, I was so annoying, So, and that's so great. And then in Toy Story 3, it felt like he took a step back and he's getting back to the way he was. And in this one, he's doing it again. It feels like he's just being this kind of lovable goof, And I'm like, well, that's not really what he should be doing right now. He should be like a real good sidekick for Woody. So I'm with you there.
The franchise has always, at its core, been a buddy comedy about these two.
Yes,
when it shines,
absolutely.
and like you said, Toy Story 3 starts to take a step away from that, but it really cements family as like a theme, right? So like I was still able to kind of forgive it because they had to fit a lot more room for other toys in there. But this one, it's just like he literally felt like as important as like Mr. Potato Head in like the first one or something. You know what I mean? Like he had very tangential parts, and I don't know, man. I think that kind of rubbed me the wrong way as someone who enjoys the banter between Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. That's infinitely more charming than Bo Peep, which I'm sorry to say.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the one solid joke that Tim Allen got, or Buzz Lightyear, where he was searching for his inner voice. I thought that was pretty good. Clever. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, like the parts where he was there, they work for me. It's just make it more about Woody and Buzz and quit making the franchise all about Woody's hangups,
Woody.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Tom Hanks is an infinitely better actor than Tim Allen, so I get it. But, if they make a Toy Story 5, I would like to see, like, more Buzz taking charge.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for our talk on Toy Story 4, and we're going to get into spoilers, so if you don't want to listen, skip ahead to the end or go watch it and come back. That'd be a good idea. Real quick before we get in there, I guess, what would you rate this star-wise?
Out of 5, I'm sitting at a 3.5 to 4.
Same solid 3.5 to 4.
I think I'm a solid 4 on this.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
Okay.
All right, spoiler time.
Let's do it.
No, I guess Rosebud is just a piece in a jigsaw puzzle.
Any orange cigarettes you got up there? I'll tell you all about it.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
And here we go.
All right, guys. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think of the body horror stuff going on with Woody? Getting his voice box taken out. Was that not a little dark?
It was very dark, and the way they handled it was
like,
very
yeah,
creepy
like
too.
he woke up with like a freaking kidney removed or something. It was weird. It had a really weird vibe for a minute. Like, I was like, this is getting very heavy.
Yeah. It, to my recollection, they were trying to get the voice box from him the whole time, and then he makes the decision to give it up.
But the implication, the way that scene is staged is like, he makes the decision, but if he didn't, then he would have gotten the shit beat out of him and they would have taken it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Right. And he wanted to get Forky back too.
Exactly. So it's like, you're never going to see your friend again and we'll fucking kill you if you don't give us your voice box. And he's like, okay, I'll give you my voice box. So it's like, it wasn't really like an altruistic decision. It was like, well, I better do this.
True. What did you think of Gabby Gabby in general with the voice box and stuff?
I thought it was a good villain. It was creepy.
Yeah.
I think I mean, I saw it coming a mile away that she was going to be sympathetic, but I kind of wished that she wasn't. Like, I wish that she was just this creepy toy. I thought she was really effective that way, but ultimately I like where her character goes. I like how Woody, the way we're supposed to come away with it is that Woody decided to give up the voice box and wasn't going to get the shit beat out of him, but...
Yeah. Well, and he also goes and helps her, once she's rejected by the one little girl. Yeah. Woody goes and is like, we're not going to leave you behind, and I really felt that. I liked that.
It was
moment.
Good. It was good. I liked it too.
And when she first popped up, I was a little disappointed because I knew there was probably going to be a villain, but I didn't know who it was. And when she first appeared, I was like, oh, this is like a low rent Lotso from Toy Story 3, which I thought was just in the original canon, in the original trilogy, was a really fascinating villain, like the forgotten toy that, that I thought that was really cool. And, they more or less did the same thing, but I like, what you guys are saying, I thought she was super creepy. They put her in like this antique store, which, which in and of itself is creepy. Henchmen.
Great setting.
Yes. And there's like super great setting. It's dusty, it's moldy, and you can really feel it. And
lack of color,
there's like music playing, lack of color. She's got even the way we were introduced to her, she's like being pushed around by a dummy, a ventriloquist dummy, and it was very like Sunset Boulevard esque. So she's got this, this guy that is always creeping around, but, we find she's got a few of them, which was great because also as soon as like the ventriloquists, they don't speak because they don't have a voice. So they just kind of flop their jaws or occasionally will like make a little noise or something. Super creepy and very cool. So I thought the way they handled it was really really interesting. So I enjoyed the character. I was the same with you. I kind of was just like, oh well, she's gonna want this so bad, getting this voice box so that she can actually speak because again we're in spoilers, but she was defective right off the assembly line. So she was never bought by anybody. She was never brought home. She was never able to fulfill her overall desires. And meeting Woody, who just kind of plops into her lap, and it's like, oh, he's got a voice box that works. We were made by the same manufacturer. I can have his voice box, and then I can get this little girl that always comes into the store to be my owner. And I was just like, oh, she's not going to want you because you're an old toy. And sure enough, that's what happened. But and that was fine. She had a nice little wrap up there at the end too. So but I thought it was an effective setting and everything. So I really enjoyed it. And then Bo Peep, who's got really big hips apparently.
Yeah, and she's very shiny. All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also have I have a personal favorite character that's not really a main part of the story, and I'd like to know what you guys' is, but I'm going to tell you. The unicorn that's always trying to frame
the fucking unicorn.
The dad for some sort of crime was my favorite. I thought that was so good. I mean, it's that character's such a throwaway character, and it's just there, and that's kind of an example of like there's no wasted time in this. I mean, maybe if you think maybe the Buzz Lightyear, but there's no wasted time. Like every line, like packs a joke or something in there, and I just loved the unicorn trying to frame the father for some sort of crime. I thought it was great.
I thought that was a really peculiar joke to have recurring, and then when the end happened, whenever they were like hot wiring the thing and he was driving like crazy, I was like, did they reverse engineer that joke? I wonder.
That could be, because and then that's also my favorite line. The unicorn's so excited, like, oh, Dad's going to jail now.
Yeah.
And like, what happened to the unicorn and the dad? Like, what happened between them that the unicorn hates him?
He probably they probably like threw him under the couch or something one day.
Yeah, I want a side movie that's just about the unicorn and the dad and why, or origin story.
That joke played so well in my theater. Like at the moment the cops are behind him and they cut away really fast to the unicorn, like immediately everyone just died laughing before the unicorn even was just like, yes, I did it, So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's so great. And then just a little bit more about the Key and Peele. I also thought that joke with them attacking the antique store owner that worked really well for me too, especially the third one. Like comedy is always good in threes, but like they just tell this long story,
the one
and
that goes
just
like with her like taking a bath,
which is super creepy, but it has the same result, like all three of them, but it just takes a lot longer to get to that end result, and I thought it was hilarious.
The plush rush.
The plush rush, yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think my favorite, it wasn't even like a really recurring joke. It was just one scene, I think, but it was the scene whenever like the one G.I. Joe just kept getting left hanging.
Oh, yes.
During high fives.
Yeah, no one high-fived him, yeah.
And he like walks right up to Woody.
And just stands there for a while.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. Great. Yeah. I mean, it's stuff like that that's just great, and it doesn't feel like anything's wasted. And then they also throw in the idea of identity and purpose and what that means, and so there's like, that's why that's why I'm at a solid 4 and may move up to like 4.5, but like it just has that second layer, and the second layer is so great. And I think Tony Forkey does such a great job about like illuminating this idea, and then Woody losing his purpose and finding that he can have another purpose. He doesn't have to do the same thing, and I think it's really great. I love it.
No, that I was going to say, like, while we're closing up spoilers, I thought that was the one thing that took the movie to the next level for me as well, which was Woody and all these characters, they had such a wonderful start and finish in with the first 3 films. What were they going to do for this one? And it was, Woody's whole existence has been an association with an owner and finding purpose in helping out someone else. And then his realization that, I don't have to be attached to someone in order to find happiness, and that was really cool. So I thought they. Well,
it's the idea that he's put in his time. He's already done it. He's put in his time. Yeah, he's lived his purpose, and now he has to learn how to live for himself. It's like when your kids leave the nest, right? It's like whenever your kids go off to college, you've raised them. You're done. Like everything you've dedicated every moment to up till now, you're done. Like you're retired. You graduated. You can now use the rest of your life to try and do something for yourself.
Yep.
That's interesting too. I didn't see the parent analogy so much as I saw like changing careers, midway through your life. Like you've been working so hard towards a certain goal, and then you're like, well, I don't have to do this. Let me do this other thing that I like better,
That's interesting.
That's kind of how I saw it.
There was no way I could not see it as like the parent analogy. To be honest, I don't know. That's interesting, Peyton. How did you see it, or did you see it a different way?
No. I didn't see it as a parent analogy, but I'm seeing it now perfectly. The way you're saying it, and what just popped in my mind, I think is interesting, which is people that were like 15 or 16 when they saw Toy Story 1 are probably going through that exact same issue.
Yeah.
Now seeing it, so it's like they're aware of their audience, and they're actually having they're actually giving their longtime audience a moral and a story. So it's like, if you feel lost because your kids have left the nest, just do what Woody did. Like, don't feel that bad about it. So I think that's a excellent way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean it could be like, now that you're saying it, like I totally understand like the career aspect too. Like it could be like retirement. It could be several things. He underwent new management within the last few years, and his heart's just not in the business anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think either one works very well. I do like the parent analogy, but it's interesting that we took different things.
I think a lot of the dialogue and some of the on-the-nose symbolism used in the movie Because like they keep saying like, you've got a kid. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Using the exact words, like,
oh God,
I've got a kid
you're
waiting
right.
for me. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, it was just like, I could not see it, but it both work, and I think both are good, and both are valid and good points for a children's cartoon to make, because, it could be like Incredibles 2, and, I could not remember any moral to the story.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question, I guess, which is maybe kind of the same thing, but I'm going to word it a little differently. So did you guys like the end, which it sounds like you did, but do you think that ultimately it's better than 3? Like, did it merit itself existing?
It certainly merited itself existing. Like, I didn't know what that was going to be, and then, I was pleasantly surprised, and I really ended up liking it. I still like 3 better.
Same.
And it's just because I remember when I watched it, I mean, it was just like, it took you on this big emotional thing, and at the very end of the movie, I mean, everybody was crying. I was crying in the theater. So, and I didn't have that.
A memory I cherish.
That strong
crying in the theater
reaction
with all my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I teared up. I didn't cry. Pixar movies are probably the ones that will get me to ugly cry the most in the theater in public. But I did tear up as Woody's saying goodbye to all his friends, and he's going, on this new path. And I thought that was touching. But you're right. So to your question, Mike, were you done, Peyton? Did I just interrupt you? I apologize.
No. I'm okay.
Done. But to your question, Mike, you asking that question really, kind of puts me in a conundrum, because I do think 3 wraps everything up so well. I love Toy Story 4, but like...
Here's what I'll say. Hold your thought.
Okay.
Toy Story 3 wraps up the story to that point perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
If they use Toy Story 4 as the jumping off point to another set of movies, and they don't take another 30 years to make them, and they can somehow... Because Tom Hanks will be dead, but if they can keep this going and make like another story out of Woody's new adventure, I'm okay with that. Like, what I'm saying is, I will feel better about Toy Story 4 not being as emotionally satisfying as 3 if the story keeps going and they can make me feel something down the road.
Like,
okay.
If they're making a new trilogy.
Right. If this was like the jumping off point to something else that can move me better. Otherwise, I like 4, but ultimately I didn't need it. You know?
Okay.
That's kind of where I come down
I'm
on
with you. Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
Like Toy Story 3 needed to happen in
exactly.
In that
and
universe,
the fact
yes. But Toy Story 4 didn't have to, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that Toy Story 3 and 4 are just the same amount of distance apart as like 2 and 3 were is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2 and 3 felt like a million years in between them.
Yeah, it did, absolutely.
And Toy Story 3 and 4 felt like not very much time at all. And that's because I didn't want another Toy Story. I was done with it. I had checked it off in my brain as like finished, So now it's open again. And so now I'm like, well, show me that it was worth it. Like show me where you're going. With movies, with Pixar, I don't necessarily know that they have like a direction after this because they like to make them one at a time. That said, I don't begrudge this movie existing. And 3.5 to 4 stars is perfectly great. It's better than most animated sequels. And and Woody's arc does wrap up in a pretty good way. It's just I didn't feel as rewarded. And that's all I'll say.
That makes sense. It didn't have to exist, I guess is what I would say, but I'm glad it does.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I would be interested to like watch it again with like a group of people watching it for the first time who would like laugh and like have responses, because like my movie theater was like depressingly empty. And I was kind of bummed about that, because part of the fun about seeing Pixar movies in opening weekend is like the enthusiastic crowd,
Yeah, I'm sure Disney's a little bummed about that too, because it did not open well.
Well, it opened number 1 this weekend, but I was actually reading that like it did open short of expectations.
Right. I also think, well, if we're going to talk about numbers and stuff like that, but this has staying power. There's not really a lot coming out over the next few weeks until Lion King, I think.
Yeah. Until Lion King, so, this'll clean up on kids' movies for sure.
Although Midsummer's coming out, so I'm kind of going for the same audience.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That reminds me of like in the Boogie Nights commentary on the Blu-ray or DVD, like Paul Thomas Anderson talks about how they released it the same weekend as The Lost World for like counter programming. This is all the people who won't want to see Jurassic Park 2. And like Paul Thomas Anderson was like, are you fucking kidding me? There's not a person in the world who doesn't want to see Jurassic Park 2. I want to see Jurassic Park 2. It's kind of like that, right? Which is like, I think everyone probably wants to see Toy Story a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's like the only kids movie around for like, it seems like a million years.
Secret Life of Pets is out. And there was
hell with that
one
movie.
other. Yeah.
Who cares about that movie?
Yeah. True. Toy Story will suit both kids and adults. So
exactly.
That makes it
like
worth
if you had a kid right now and you were like, I have to choose between 2 movies to go see, Secret Life of Pets 2 or Toy Story 4, would it even be a decision?
Nope.
Parents, write in. If you would take your kid to see Secret Life of Pets 2 over Toy Story 4, write in and explain yourself.
And then put your kid up for adoption.
Yeah, and then get rid of your kid. They'll do you a favor. They'll thank you later. Okay, I think we're done. Are we done?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
Groovy. Okay, so I guess thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Jake Wagner Russell, for our intro and outro music. You can hear more of his music at www.soundcloud.com/bopscotch. All right, stay tuned next week to this channel. We will be putting out a review for Yesterday, the new Danny Boyle film.
Ooh, yeah.
As always, you can like, follow, and subscribe to us at Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at casualcinecast. You can email us at casualcinemedia@gmail.com. And don't forget to go and review our show. Give us 5 stars.
iTunes. Thank you.
On iTunes. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Peace out.
Adios.
Thank you for listening.
Oh, good Lord.
Perfect.